You think I'm untouchable? I do.
They smirked, flashing their shiny badges like shields, convinced their authority was untouchable. But what happens when the man they mocked, the one they laughed at, dismissed, ignored, walks into the room as their new boss? This isn't just a story, it's a lesson. Stay till the end, and if you believe in real power, subscribe, share, and let the world see. True power doesn't come from a badge. It comes from character. It all began in a quiet suburban precinct where 3 officers ruled the halls like kings. Not because they were the most skilled, not because they were disciplined, but because they wore badges and wore them with arrogance. To them, the badge wasn't about duty, it was power. Untouchable power, and anyone who didn't fit their mold treated as lesser. One man stood apart, Michael Reed, calm, sharp-minded, a black man in a junior administrative role. He wasn't on the streets. His battlefield was paperwork, coordination, efficiency. Yet, from a small desk in the corner, he carried himself with quiet dignity, didn't laugh at their crude jokes, didn't flinch at their intimidation, and that made him a target, day after day. Subtle jabs, accidental, lost files, suggestions brushed aside in meetings. They mocked him, thinking he wouldn't rise, thinking his silence meant weakness. But they didn't know Michael. They didn't see the fire beneath the calm, the patience, the vision. While they flexed their badges, Michael was building something stronger, his future. He studied, earned qualifications, forged connections with leaders who valued substance, not swagger, integrity, not intimidation. The stage was set. The ICE officers thought they were at the top, but the man they dismissed was about to become the one person with power over their careers. The breaking point came on a Wednesday morning, a day that started like any other. The 3 officers strode into the precinct, laughing loud, taking up space, making sure everyone knew they were in charge. Michael sat at his desk, calm, focused, finishing a report. Then Carter saw him, decided it was time for a show. "Hey, Michael," he sneered, tossing a crumpled stack of papers onto his desk. "Think you can handle this? Or is that too much for you?" The others laughed. "Careful, Carter," one mocked. "You'll overload him. Man's been here months and still doesn't get how things really work." Michael didn't flinch, didn't look up right away. When he did, calm, measured, silent. And that silence, it angered them more. Carter leaned in. "You know your problem? You act like you're better than us, but don't forget, we wear the badge. We run this place. You're just a desk jockey. You'll never have what we have." The words hung in the air. They stung. Not because Michael believed them, but because they exposed the truth. Their arrogance ran deep. They thought the badge made them untouchable. That afternoon, rumors spread. A new supervisor was coming. The captain had moved up, and the higher-ups had chosen someone from outside the usual circle. The officers just shrugged. Whoever it was, they'd fall in line, respect their authority, maybe even favor them. What they didn't know, what no one had told them, was that the man they mocked that morning was no longer just an administrator. Michael had been chosen. After years of quiet work, relentless growth, proven skill, he was stepping into the role they never thought he'd reach. The stage was set. The insults were thrown. Arrogance had drawn its line. And the moment of reckoning? It was already on its way, closer, with every breath, with every second. The next morning, the officers gathered in the briefing room, relaxed, smug, as if nothing could ever change, leaning back in their chairs, cracking jokes, already picturing the new boss, some outsider who'd walk in and immediately respect their authority. The door opened. Footsteps. Calm, confident, measured. Conversations died. Heads turned, and there he was, Michael, dressed sharp. Posture strong, a quiet power radiating from him, something they couldn't ignore. Silence, just for a second, but long enough for doubt to creep in. Then the captain spoke. "Ladies and gentlemen, your new supervisor, Mr. Michael Ellis." Disbelief hit like a wave. Carter stiffened. One of the others forced a laugh, as if it were a joke. But Michael stood there, calm, certain. His silence said it all. This was real. He stepped forward, voice steady, firm, effective immediately. "I'll be overseeing operations efficiency and accountability. I expect professionalism. I expect respect. And most importantly, I expect change." The words struck like thunder. The same men who mocked him now looked down, avoiding eye contact, their arrogance cracking. But pride dies hard. Carter muttered under his breath. "This can't be serious." "Him?" Michael heard it. Didn't flinch. Turned directly. "To him. You'll find it very serious, because under my watch, no one, no matter the badge, stands above accountability." The room shifted. Officers who once joined the laughter now leaned in, watching, waiting. Some even hid a smirk. Poetic justice served in silence. But the three weren't ready to fall. That afternoon, they tested him, ignored orders, dragged their feet, whispered behind his back. "Let's see how long this lasts." Michael saw it all, anticipated every move, and with precision, calm, unshaken, he responded. Not with rage, with authority. He'd waited years for this, and he wasn't about to let arrogance tear down what he'd come to build. Tension thickened. Everyone could feel it. A storm was coming. And Michael? He wasn't here to survive it. He was here to lead it. For days, the precinct felt like glass underfoot. Tense. Fragile. One wrong step, and everything breaks. Some officers adapted fast, impressed by Michael's fairness, his discipline, his calm control. But the three who once mocked him, they dug in, whispered like cornered men. Carter, the loudest, the proudest, refused to bend. "He's book smart, not street smart," he muttered. "Doesn't know how we do things. One mistake, and he's done." His friends nodded, but their eyes, they were losing faith. That badge, once a shield, now felt thin, fragile. Michael didn't react, didn't rise to the bait. Instead, he moved, reorganizing teams, tightening protocols, demanding results. He wasn't just filling a role, he was changing the culture, and slowly, officers who once followed Carter's lead now watched Michael, respected him. But Carter wasn't ready to fall. He waited, plotted, for one moment, one chance, to expose Michael, to humiliate him, to prove he didn't belong. That moment came during a high-stakes briefing, a sensitive operation. One mistake could cost lives. Michael stood at the front, clear, precise, in command. The room listened, focused, all except Carter, arms crossed, smirk on his face, whispering just loud enough. "This is a joke. He's gonna crash and burn." Michael stopped. Silence. His eyes swept the room, then locked onto Carter. The air stilled, even the walls seemed to hold their breath. Then, calm, steady, razor-sharp, Michael spoke. "Carter, since you're so confident, why don't you explain your strategy to the team? We're all listening." The room froze. Carter's grin vanished. Mouth opened. No words came. For the first time, the man who always had something to say was silent. And in that silence, Michael leaned forward. Voice low, clear, unshakable. "Gentlemen, respect isn't worn on your chest, it's earned in your actions, and today the whole room gets to see who truly leads." The silence broke into whispers. Eyes shifted, power shifted. The stage was set, not for a fall, but for a reckoning. The room was electric, every eye on Carter. The man who moments ago wore a smirk, now pale, stammering, silent. His silence stretched. Long, heavy, damning. No defense, no comeback, just the quiet collapse of arrogance. Michael didn't shout, didn't smirk, didn't gloat. He simply turned. Let's continue. 3 words. Calm, certain. And in that moment, authority was reclaimed, not with force, but with presence. The briefing moved forward. Clear, precise, confident. Officers leaned in, took notes, nodded. The man they once mocked wasn't just in charge, he was leading. But Carter wasn't finished. That night, pride flared into sabotage. He ignored a critical update, deliberately, hoping the system would fail, hoping blame would fall on Michael. But Michael had planned for this. Built-in checks. Cross-verified steps. Carter's mistake was caught. Before damage, before fallout. Not a failure. Proof. Proof the new system worked. Proof Michael was ready. Confronted, Carter had no excuse, no defense, and Michael didn't hide it. He addressed it publicly. This department runs on trust. If you believe the badge excuses dishonesty, you're wrong. Integrity isn't optional, it's required. The weight of those words settled like stone. Some looked at Carter with disgust. Others, pity. All of them knew. The old way was over. That week, Michael kept moving. No revenge. No favoritism. Just change. He opened forums. Junior officers could speak, no fear, held everyone to the same standard, badge or not, and slowly the whispers changed. The same voices that mocked him now said, fair, calm, doesn't let ego decide. Even skeptics saw the results. Efficiency up, morale rising, errors dropping. Carter and his allies, isolated, exposed. Their power, illusion. Respect wasn't handed out. It was earned, and they had nothing to offer. Then came the climax. Michael's first major operation as supervisor. His strategy. His plan. Flawless execution. Every officer in position. Success. Echoed up the chain, and when the captain stood before the team and praised Michael publicly, the final illusion died. Carter stood silent, defeated. Michael looked at his team. Every officer, even him. This wasn't about me, he said. It was about what we can achieve when we choose accountability over ego. Badges don't make us better. Choices do. The applause wasn't polite. It was real. Earned. For the first time, Michael wasn't just the boss. He was respected. And Carter? His fall wasn't loud. It was quiet, complete. No influence, no loyalty, just the hollow echo of arrogance, now meaningless. He wasn't beaten by anger, not by revenge, by integrity, steady, unshakable. Michael's victory? It wasn't about the title. It was about the truth. Real power isn't in the badge you wear. It's in the way you lead. When the world is watching. In the end, this wasn't just about Michael or Carter. It wasn't about rank or who held the title. It was about something deeper, something that echoes far beyond one precinct, one job, one life. The truth is simple. Power without character is an illusion, a badge, a title, wealth. They can give you authority for a moment, but authority built on arrogance, it cracks the first time it's tested. Respect, though, that can't be demanded, can't be forced. It must be earned, through choices, through integrity, through consistency. Michael didn't win by shouting, didn't win by humiliation. He won by standing still, while the storm raged around him. He proved that dignity outlasts insult, that patience defeats arrogance, and that real leadership isn't about power over others, but service to them. That's the lesson. No matter where you are, school, work, life, there will always be a Carter. Someone who thinks their status makes them untouchable, who tries to push you down to feel taller, who tells you, directly or silently, you'll never be like me. This story, It's proof that those words don't define you. Your actions do. Michael showed us that silence isn't weakness. Patience isn't surrender. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is stay quiet, build strong, prepare. And when the moment comes, let your results speak, because the best revenge isn't payback, it's excellence. So the next time someone underestimates you, smiles to your face but doubts behind your back, remember this: tables turn, and when yours does, lead with integrity, not pride. If this story moved you, if it reminded you of your own strength, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe, share, like. Because right now, somewhere, someone is being doubted, being dismissed. They need to hear this. They need to know dignity, discipline, determination. That's what turns the impossible into reality. Because greatness, it's not about the badge, not about the title, not about the applause. It's about the courage to do what's right, even when no one believes in you. And that is the kind of power no one can ever take away.